Good morning and welcome to the Exports Network. And I'm Corey Rochelle, and I am joined by a very special guest today, Charles Plott, a sports psychologist and also the father of our very own Taylor Plott. And I am extremely excited to have you here today, Charles. I cannot wait to get into this discussion. Your background, I'm sure, even though it's focused primarily on golf, and so most of the people out there know me as a golf lover, and so I'm extremely excited to get started about with this podcast, and we're just going to let it go today. We're
Oh
going to
my.
talk all things golf and all things demons in our mind on the golf course. But thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me and sitting here small talking and realizing all the common folks we
That we
both
know,
know
yeah.
and get to enjoy around golf. And uh, so it's awesome. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah. So tell me about your background as a sports psychologist. How'd you get into it?
Not through sports psychology. So I went to school. There wasn't sports psychology offered when I went to school. I'm very old. Um, and got a master's degree in counseling, opened a Christian counseling practice. And several years into that, a coach from Grissom High School, Adam Williamson, he coached the track team. He was also my ninth grade geometry teacher who managed to pass me with a 67.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good score
Yeah,
on the
you
golf course.
on the golf course is a great score. And he called me. His son was a pole vaulter at Auburn and called me and said, "Hey, do you work with athletes?" And I said, "Not really." And he referred me his son, and he had some demons. He had tried to come back from an injury, and he did something, you know. I have no history in pole vaulting. I doubt you do.
No.
Um, so there, he introduced me to something I wasn't aware of, which is if you go down and you plant and you're not committed, you might go up and straight back down. How many pads are on this side of the pole?
None.
None. Kind of spooked him. And so we managed to work through it. And about 3 weeks later, he set a personal best at the SEC track meet. And it was like, that was kind of fun.
Kind
And
of like I would relate that to like the yips and putting.
oh, that's
Yeah,
what it was. It was
right.
like the yips and putting.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah.
So
So I've been down that path. I'm a recovering yipper. Um, so then Spike McCroy, who you said you know, got on the PGA tour, and I went to a tour event, and he had a player's guest pass, so you get to go in a few places
yeah,
that the normal fans
yeah,
don't go. And then we headed to the range, and he goes, you can't come out here. And there was a sign that said, "Tour officials, players, caddies, and sports psychologists permitted." And his agent was caddying for him, and his name's Adam. And Adam looked at me and he goes, "Well, I can get you one of those." And about 10 days later, a pass showed up.
yeah,
Very first place I used it was in Memphis. You mentioned
yeah.
playing over there, and it got me in the players parking lot, and he introduced me to players, and I picked up some clients. And then I've got referred a kid from Birmingham whose dad blabbed to everybody about me. And suddenly I had a sports psychology focused practice that was as big as the marriage and family therapy practice, to the point that the guy that owned the counseling center said, "Which one's it going to be?"
Right.
And I said, "I'm going to give up a coat, tie, suicide, and depression stuff, and I'm going to put on shorts and sunscreen.
Yeah.
See you later."
That's right.
And it has led down, it's just been a blessing. The opportunities, the people I've gotten to meet, the places I've gotten to go.
Yeah.
It is still amazing.
Yeah.
And
So how many different sports have you worked across as far
oh
as athletes?
my soul.
Almost all of them.
Just about. I've got everything from lacrosse. I had an Olympic equestrian
Mm-hmm.
participant who had a horse pull up at a jump at full speed and throw her off the front of it. And she goes, I wish you could do therapy with the horse, but they can sense your fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she goes, I've got to get over that. That was really interesting work. I've worked with folks that competitively shoot. I've worked with what I call tactical athletes. I've worked with ICE special response teams in their training. That's incredibly interesting. And then basketball, football, soccer, baseball, golf,
Traditional
tennis,
sports.
all the
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. So, which, as far as you, obviously, you played sports, So, when you were growing up and whatnot, what sports did you play that you were really involved in?
I started out, my dad had me do lots of interesting things. I think I probably would have been best suited to baseball, and I gave up on it in coach pitch.
Yeah.
Very first season, the coach threw one inside, and I swung really hard at it and took my fingernail off my right forefinger and never played baseball again. Played golf, played basketball, played football, all you little stuff.
Yeah.
Around 14, 15, 16, I raced quarter midget race cars, which I loved and was really good at. And I came home one day and my dad had sold the race cars. I came home and they were gone.
They were gone.
And when he came home, he goes, son, I decided I didn't want to watch you die in a race car.
Yeah.
So that was.
And you probably understood that when you started having kids.
Yeah. And it changes your perspective.
Sure it does.
But I have done a bunch of sports. I have an unusual niche. I work with professional bass fishermen. I've had 5 anglers of the year, and people look at me and go, fishing?
Absolutely. I can understand it. I love to fish.
It is way more challenging than golf.
And
it's mentally.
Yes, because I love to fish. I don't fish tournaments or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I love to fish, and I lost my dad a year and a half ago, and we had gotten to where we fish, and his brothers would go, and of course we're just competitive in nature. So I totally understand how fishing mentally could be, well, enough that I follow Gerald Swindle.
Well, that was my very first client.
Okay, where he talks about, he's got that PMA. That your idea? Well, fantastic.
That's it.
So
yeah.
I get that. I get it on the fishing side.
Yeah. Gerald came to me and had a really significant turnaround, referred a guy named Skeet Reese to me.
Yeah.
And then a guy named Brent Chapman. And most recently, I've been doing a lot of work with Michael Neal, who lives in Dayton, Tennessee.
Yeah, right there in Chattanooga.
Yeah, just right outside Chattanooga. I've worked with Wesley Strader. I mean, I've probably worked with 20 top bass fishermen. I just did Major League Fishing high school fishing camp 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
150 kids working on the mental side of things. The decision making in fishing is so complex.
Yeah.
And you've got to be a boat expert, an electronics expert, a weather expert, a casting expert, and you sit there and you have so many choices. And do I stay? Do I go? Do I do this? Do I do that? And it's easy to lose the hope of catching a fish. I mean, that's literally what happens. If you think you're about to catch a fish,
good chance you're going to.
Your chances are way up.
Yeah.
And so I find that as being an interesting and very fun thing when they call me up and go, we need to go work next week. And it's like, doggone it, I'm going to get to go fish with somebody who knows where they are. That's a lot of fun.
I know that would be a lot of fun. You're exactly right. All right, so I want to dive into the golf side of things.
Yeah.
Some of this I'm gonna probably bring out some just personal.
Oh,
things
we can
in
do
my
therapy.
life.
I'll bill you later. I take Venmo, so that's workable.
But I want to talk about it. Let's start off. Let's start off at the 30,000 foot level.
Okay.
Golf for people who play competitive. There's a difference. The old saying, I don't know who was a credit. Was it Ben Hogan who said there's a major difference between golf and tournament golf? I think,
like crazy.
Yeah. So from from the 30,000 foot scale or view, looking at tournament golf, identify the 1, 2, 3 things that you would tell somebody who comes to you. If I come to you and say, Dr. Plott, when I go out and play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to shoot under par 99 out of 100 times. But when Thursday comes and the bell rings and I got to peg it up and I got to sign a scorecard at the end of the day, I just can't get it done. Talk to me about that.
Man, you open up such a huge area. First of all, I had the most unusual phrase given to me by a tour player, and he knew I was working with a kid in his hometown. And his comment to me was, "Man, that kid's great until he's under the pencil." Mm-hmm. You know, and I was like, yeah, and when he has to write it down and it counts.
Right. I have one of my, and I want to start. I genuinely wanted to start with this because I have a really good friend of mine that, when he was growing up, I played a lot with him. Could be a good player. Same exact thing. When he's got to pencil the score in, it just locks him up. And I want to understand from your perspective. And I know that's a big question, but just some freeing tips.
So there's something that people don't understand that tour players have, and it's probably something that got them to their place. And I try to teach this to kids, which is, I had a pilot that was a middle-aged man wanting to play in mid-ams and things like you've mentioned before we got started. And he flew for U.S. Air. And Sully landed the plane in the Hudson. My client was what you just described. He could go out and gamble with the friends and in the low ball and, you know, all of that stuff with the high rollers, and he would shoot under par. And as soon as it was club championship or Tennessee State Am or whatever, it was going to start with an 8 in front of it.
Yeah.
And so I meet with him and I said, "Hey, one of your buddies just pulled off an amazing thing." And he was like, "Sully?" He goes, "Greatest pilot flying commercial airlines that I know of." Yeah. He goes, "I've been his co-pilot a dozen times." He goes, "I've seen it." Yeah. And then I looked at him and I go, "How do you do that? Land in the Hudson and not crap in your britches?" Yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, "Charles, when I pull into the airport and I get out of the driver's side and I reach in the back seat and I get my briefcase and my captain's hat and I put that captain's hat on and I walk in the airport, I give up my right to crap in my britches." He goes, "I'm going to fly that plane till we all live, we all die." And I said, "Can we find that guy for the golf tournaments?" Yeah. And so what happens is most athletes, golfers, as you were talking about, as soon as the scorecard is there and it counts, all of their fears and insecurities come out. Mm-hmm. One of the things you see in other sports and you see in life, I believe it's a life skill, is this concept of performance identity or competitive character. Matter of fact, I've got a book about 95% done on this, that somebody other than the person themselves plays that. I come in here and do a podcast with you. You know, this is podcast Charles. This is not, right. You know. Yeah. And so if we were suddenly to go tee it up and it counts, I've got to make a real conscious decision that I'm not looking for golf to give me anything. I'm just going to go play. Yeah. Just like Dave goes and flies.
Yes.
In 2018 and again in 2022, you elected me to be your sheriff. You elected me to lead with experience, fairness, and accountability. Since then, I've worked every day to defend your individual rights, protect your families and your property, and use your taxpayer dollars responsibly. Focused on results and committed to doing the job the right way.
But when he steps in that cockpit, and he said to me, he goes, man, if I'm in the back of Sully's plane ferrying over to another place, he goes, I probably wet my britches.
Yeah.
But he goes, if I'm in that cockpit, I don't. And so one of the big things that you see, and it makes sense in other sports, you know, my son's just one of the nicest kids in the world, but you put a football helmet and shoulder pads on him, and he's an all-region linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he's going to kill you.
That's right.
You know, and so we worked early on. He played on an all-star team that had a couple of Justins, that's his name, a couple of Justins on the team, and a coach named Justin. So if you went and screamed Justin, 4 people turned around. So my Justin became JP, Justin Plott. He's now on the radio, does has a show on every day. It's going on right now. And he's JP. And when he was 10 years old, just early kid pitch stuff, Justin threw strikes. He never got run ruled. He wasn't overpowering, and doggone, he got run ruled. And I went down to the dugout and said, son, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Justin was on the mound. He won't be back out there.
Yeah.
And he goes, a complete game.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I had taught him early on about this competitive identity. And I think that is the single biggest thing that if you can get in a place where you just do your work, this case it's a sport, but we go out there going, oh gosh, it's a biggie.
Yeah.
You know, it's Tennessee State M. Let's not suck today.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get in the mindset of don't mess up. And when you're just out there playing, you're like, I'm going to hit this ball right off that tree with a draw down the right center, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going, you know,
right.
and you're telling yourself what to do.
That's right.
As opposed to what not to do.
I was just about to go there, and I'm going to in just a second. So, you're talking about having a mindset that for that 5-hour round, you step in there and I'm no longer Corey, whatever. This is, I'm stepping in this arena and I'm going to step out there and become Corey the golfer, just like I was Corey the golfer on Monday.
Or it may even be a different identity than Monday.
Because for me, and it took me a very long time personally to learn how to do this. And I work with several high school kids, and, you know, and the guy I was telling you about it took me a long time to be able to tee it up in a tournament and be able to just freely
trust it and let it go.
Pick my target and let it go, just like I could with a buddy in a buddies round.
Yeah.
So, and once I learned to get to that, to where the consequences of hitting a bad shot in a golf tournament are no different than the consequences of hitting a bad shot in any other round.
Yeah.
And
you just go make do if you're just out there playing.
That's exactly right. So that's why I wanted to stop and get a little deeper on that question, because what helped me was not to become anything any different. That was the opposite I wanted to do. I just wanted to be able to walk out there and freely be able to go in a tournament under the most pressure situations as if it was a normal round of golf.
So part of the identity is how does that person think? But another part of that identity is what is the intensity and focus level that's required. Mm-hmm. And what happens to a lot of us is we are really casual. Mm-hmm. And we're really good. Mm-hmm. I learned this years ago that I could go play golf sober. I don't drink anymore. This led down a bad path, but I could play golf sober and I might shoot even. But doggone, you get a beer in me, mm-hmm. and I just quit caring.
Just enough.
I was golden.
Yeah.
You know, we would always have an emergency 9 after our game to allow, and I'd go shoot 74 in the first 18 holes, and I would have a margarita while we called the bets, and go back out and shoot 33,
Yeah.
you know, and birdie 9,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you've won a bunch of money. And this is all before I ever started doing sports psychology. And so this identity has a way of thinking and has a mode of operation. Spike is pretty good when he's pissed off. And so one year after he played in Atlanta and had 5 birdies, which were preceded by 5 bogeys. So he went bogey, birdie, and par, bogey, birdie, bogey. And I said, what's the deal with the bounce back thing? And he goes, I just want to get that shot back. I'm like, dude, can we play like that all the time?
Right.
Later that year, he won on tour, and I talked to his caddy, and he goes, yeah, he shot like 29 or 30 on his last 9 before the cut to make the cut on the number, and played pissed off the next 2 days, shot 63, finished 2 or 3 hours in front of the leaders, and won the golf tournament.
Yeah.
He was on a mission. But that's not Spike's nature, you know, but that's where his sweet spot was. Yeah. And then you have people like Ernie Els, whose nickname is the Big Easy.
Right.
And Spike told me, I played with Ernie. You walk on that first tee and he knows he's going to beat you and you know he's going to beat you, but he's so nice you just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was his place. I think Tiger it was an identity trained by his dad. Most people don't know Tiger's real name. You probably do. Eldrick. How many golf tournaments does Eldrick win?
Not any.
Yeah, you know, he gets beat up at lunch and his pudding's taken away and, you know, he's stuffed in the trash can.
That's right.
So I work with these kids and grown-ups on creating this identity, and mental toughness has been shown to be no different than an actor or actress that gets up on stage, they get in character and they stay in character.
Yeah.
You know, so if I were to come to Corey and go, you know, you're going to be in the community play, you're going to play a homeless drug addict living in a box. You know, well, you would learn, you know, how's he going to think? How's he going to act? What's he going to do? What does he value? You know, and you get there ahead of time, you get in costume, you get in character, and no matter what happens, you're not going to break character on stage.
Yep.
I think you see athletes stumble into this, and then you see athletes that actively create this. Who played basketball, Shaquille O'Neal or Shaq? Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal's a teddy bear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You don't want to be point guard and take it down the lane on Shaq.
Yeah.
I'm not going back in there again.
Yeah.
You know, Shaq played ball. And so you see this mindset, and I think teams develop a character, but I ask young kids, who do you want to be on the golf course? Now and we write it down.
Yeah. I know for me, again, that the part I have always been, and I say this, and I'll use a lot of my traits because I know there's obviously similarities with people who strive to be the best they can be. They have a lot of similar characteristics.
Yeah.
So, you know, just being competitive, number one, I feel like you've got to be, the people who get to that level have a competitive nature and desire that goes so much further. It gives them such a push to want to play, to want to work harder, it's going to be 110 degree heat.
Yeah, and I'm out there
today, and you're out there. But to be able to harness that the right way, because for me, I had to learn to be able to take my competitive desire to win, not just to play and compete, but to win. To where when I did hit a bad shot, that didn't linger.
Yeah.
So that was when I say it took me a long time to freely be able to go and say, okay, when I go out and play and I'm practicing, I can hit a bad shot here. Then I just figure out, and I get a little punch cut. I know I can either get it up and down or chip it in and make birdie. But when it become a tournament, oh man, I put myself in this bad spot. But it didn't have anything to do with my concentration level because, you know, you're locked in and all that. But it's got to do with how the negative affects you, so that, because in golf, and I would say we were talking about fishing earlier, and I could see this would be with fishing. Like if you had a big fish and he got off, and it would linger with you. Because one of the things that golfers, and I struggled with it, not near as bad anymore, but one bad shot will lead to two. One bad hole will lead to another. It's the being able to shed that and literally develop the mindset of the only shot that matters is the next one. So, and that's kind of where I want to go for a second. And so talk to me about, and this can go across all sports. It could be about in baseball, if you're a hitter,
Yeah.
and you're in a slump and you go 0 for 10 with 7 strikeouts, but it's the next at bat that can get you out. Just like for a golfer, it's the next swing that something can click and the whole round turns around, and could be your week, your day, your week, and even the next few tournaments. Yeah. So let's kind of go there.
So it has to do, Corey, with what do you value? And you're an exceptionally good golfer. You value center of the face contact and that ball flying. And a lot of times you don't have many of those in a day.
That's right.
And a tour player looks at that and goes, yeah, but I can still score.
Yeah.
I don't have to hit it. Yeah, I don't have to hit it perfect. And I had a girl the other day shoot even par, and I watched 9 holes of it, and it wasn't pretty. And we got done, and she goes, I just shot even par, and I didn't hit it very good. And I said, that's an important lesson to understand.
Yeah.
You figured out how to get it in the hole. They did a research study on tour 20 years ago, and they presented a situation at the club they were playing that week, dogleg left, trouble through the fairway. Hey, you hit your drive right down the middle on 14. It hits the sprinkler head and goes in the rocks. What's your thoughts? They rated, or they evaluated the responses of top 20 guys on the money list versus bottom guys on the money list. Bottom guys on the money list was basically screwed story of my year. Yeah. And the guys near the top of the money list, that's unfortunate, but what a great opportunity to demonstrate my skill. What am I going to value? And if you overvalue bad shots, which I think golfers tend to do, so think of emotion as a number line, and you have 0 in the middle, and you have positive and negative. A positive 5 emotional reaction is just as mentally stimulating as a negative 5 emotional reaction. Yep. It's stimulation.
Yeah.
Most golfers give good shots about a 1 and bad shots like a -7. Yeah. And the truth is they're training themselves to hit bad shots.
Is that a result of just the expectation, or
Yes.
they want to?
Exactly. And I ought to, which implies I have a moral obligation. You mentioned your dad dying. Mine died 42 years ago today. My dad was a perfectionist. My dad grew up in Rogersville, Alabama. Went to Johns Hopkins at a young age, started Harvard Medical School at 21. Wow. And we were playing golf at Huntsville Country Club, second hole's a par 5, and I'm 16, maybe 17, and I'm 210 out, and I hit it 6 feet right of the hole. My dad looked at my divot, looked at me, looked at my divot, and goes, son, I don't know if you pushed it or you just lined up over there.
There you go.
6 feet ain't good enough from 210.
Right.
So I was literally a good ball striker hitting 15 greens a day. And I'm thinking from 100 yards, 3 feet might get his approval.
Right.
And I'd hit it 15, 20 feet and thought I was awful. Yeah. He set an expectation for me that he didn't realize he was doing.
Right.
And until I read Rotella's book on Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, did I realize it's nothing but cognitive behavioral therapy that I practice in my own counseling. And I started applying it to golf or to sports in general. But I grew up with that misbelief that set the expectation, and my expectation was horribly wrong.
Yeah,
On the green from 210,
that's right.
yeah.
Because one of the skills, again, I told you, I helped some of the high school kids here, and and just working a couple of the middle school kids, and one of the things I try to point out to them that I should be pointing out to myself a lot of times is that just go look at the tour average from 100 yards, 120 yards, 150 yards.
They're shocked.
Yeah, they're shocked. That's right. And because the message is that, again, I need to be telling myself this, is that number one, you're not as good as you don't have to be as good as you think you do. And number one, you're not as good as you think you are. And once you kind of get that in your mind that, hey, hit the shot and go play the next one.
Yeah.
You're not going to average it from 100 yards inside 5 feet.
Yeah.
Go get better at 10-foot putting.
Yeah.
And making 10 footers or 15 footers. And, don't 3-putt from 30 feet.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I was sold that it was ball striking. Back when I was younger, I hit the ball better than Spike. Dadgum, don't give me a wedge and him a wedge, because then it's a different. And don't give me a putt and him a putt, because he'll kill me.
Yeah.
So I was sold a wrong bill of goods, and I think that's what we get when we watch on TV. We mostly see the best in the world that week.
Yeah.
And you're watching them going, oh man, that's what it's all
Because you and
about.
I'm sure you've done this, because I know I still do it, but I used to do it every week. I used to go look not at the top of the leaderboard, who this week just absolutely stunk it up. You know what I mean? Like, you may have a guy finish 3 weeks in a row in the top 10 and he's rolling, and then all of a sudden he misses the cut by 5 shots.
Yeah.
But the lesson that I won't like with that is that, listen, that guy, that number one, the golf course may not have fit his eye. Maybe physically, maybe he got sick because he's been on the road for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got something outside the golf course. Maybe he has a family member something's dealing with, because they're normal people too.
And
I used to look at that to think, these guys aren't robots,
No.
Because I tried to, again, just on your own when you're trying to help yourself figure it out, or maybe give yourself a break, because again, we have such a thought in our mind that every time we go out, we ought to hit it perfectly, putt it perfectly.
Got primary care? Find your way to better health with primary care by One Stop Medical. With decades of combined experience, you'll find a one-on-one relationship just like the old days, but with the convenience and technology of today. When One Stop Medical does primary care, it's the best. Call today for an appointment and find your way to healthy living. Serving Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, and Hohenwald. Phone 931-244-8220. Primary care by One Stop Medical at its best.
And that's not going to happen.
No, and what makes good players is, what do I have today and what can I do with it? I just watched a junior play in Alabama, junior am golf at Valley Hill this week, I think. And he was hitting it left. He hit it left off of 1. He hit it a little left off of 3. He hit it in a bunker left off 4. He hit it left off 5. He hit it out of bounds left on 6. He hit it left rough on 7. On the 16th hole,
He finally made an adjustment.
yeah, and at some point I'm going, I'm the only place you can't hit it, except for a few holes at Valley Hill, is left.
Yeah.
I mean, there's left on nearly every hole. That's trouble. And he goes, yeah, I figured it out on 16, 17, and 18. And I'm like, dude, you got to make an adjustment. And so you see this with tour players. I found out very early, most of them have a limit. I've hit 3 bad shots of a certain type.
Yeah.
And after the third one, I'm going to go, okay, is there something in my alignment, ball position, grip, posture?
They just run through their basic checklist.
I will change that on the golf course. Mm-hmm. And it may just be, I like to draw the ball and I'm going to have to hit cut shots the rest of the way in. Mm-hmm. But they have something they go to when it all falls apart. And as you know, I've caddied out there. most of them are off because they're going to be on about 3 times a year.
And that's when they win.
Yeah. And then you look at Scotty, who is clearly not on his game, and he finishes second, finishes fourth, and it's like,
Yeah.
and that dude, if he'd made a couple of putts, he'd have cleaned everybody's
That's
clock.
right. That's right.
You know, he's not even playing good, but his ability level is just phenomenal. And so you look at this, and they'll tell me, I'm going to fix something concrete, and other than that, I'm just going to swing with good tempo and balance and figure it out on the range.
That's right.
You know, and kids are beating themselves up going, well, it ought not to be this. It ought not to be this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm awful, you know, and the truth is, no, you're not. Even the best in the world aren't very good at it by their standards.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I want to kind of moving through this. I want to talk about one other thing during tournament play. I'm going to put two things into one question. Help me identify how we can get better when we are physically showing nervous symptoms. Physically nervous. You know, like,
Great question.
you know, it's the last round of your local club championship.
Yeah.
You've never been there. You can't tee it up.
It may be the dude wanting, hey, we have a chance to win the scramble this
Right.
week.
That's
you know,
right. So it takes you 3 holes to shake the nerves. Or maybe you started out okay, and then the last 3 holes, maybe you caught up, and then you got a chance, and then they hit you. So I want to address that for a minute. So walk me through some things that you talk to your clients about how to handle the physical nervousness, where your hands will shake, you get sweaty, your tempo speeds up, your mind starts going really fast. Walk me through that.
So, first of all, elite players like that. Most of us go, oh no.
Right.
I heard a comment by Jack Nicklaus, who, and we can talk about this in a minute, but personality types manifest stress differently. And people who are fine motor dominant, their hands get stiff and shaky. And somebody said, you know, Jack, you said when you're excited, your hands shake. And, you know, how do you make all those putts on 18 to win tournaments? And he goes, the balls still go in. And then he said, that's what we play for, is to get that feeling. So what most people put a label of nervous implies fear.
Okay.
You know, nervous implies fear. What is really going on is excitement.
Yes.
If you change that label, ooh, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, which probably means you feel this is important. It's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then I try to get people to embrace that and not label it as, oh my goodness. You know, if the nurse comes up to you and goes, now I'm going to give you a shot, it's going to hurt like Hades. And I want you to watch me because I'm going to push it in real slow. What do you think's going to go on in your body?
Oh,
you're going through this,
trembling.
you know, and they come up to you and they get you small talking and you're like, oop, there was, you know, it got cold. That must be you know, and it's over because they've rubbed the alcohol on it and it's already been done with. And they're trying not to get you.
Yeah.
So excited, you're manifesting energy. And if you label it as good, suddenly a whole different thing happens. I'm an Alabama graduate. I know you're a Tennessee graduate. I don't want to
say something that isn't true. I'm not a graduate.
Okay. I'll say
I was
you
only
played
team up there until they.
And so I'm watching a football game and it's coming down to the end and Alabama has a chance to win. My body's doing the exact same thing it's doing on the golf course.
That's right.
But I'm not sitting here labeling it as the worst thing in the world.
That's right.
You know, and so I think it starts with the label. There are very simple breathing exercises that people can do to calm those.
Yeah.
You can just literally breathe in for 5 seconds and out for 5 seconds. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And your body will start changing because our breathing changes when we get excited. And so you can have a couple of thoughts that improve it. We were talking about performance identity. Well, if I'm going to be a clutch performer, I got to love that feeling.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I got to love that feeling. I can still trust my body. I've trained it to know where the ball is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can put a different label, you can have some physical interventions, but that label changes everything.
Because there is, and we've seen them at you see them at the professional level. There's certain athletes that in that moment they're better.
Yeah, they love it.
They love it, and their skill level goes up. There, you can see them being mentally sharper. And there's some that when they get in there, and some of it has to do with the fact because when you've seen them under the gun, they have folded, and it's like I'm just waiting on this guy to just to choke.
Yeah.
He's gonna choke. So that again goes back to Scotty just recently said it. It's talking about the U.S. Open. That arena is not for everybody, number one.
Yeah.
And not everybody can handle that arena when they're thrown in there. But there is, like you said, there is things that you can do because everybody experiences the same thing.
In your arena could be on the first tee this Saturday, and there's 20 people around waiting to tee off.
That's right.
Yeah.
When
and you think everybody's watching you, and they're not.
And because we're sitting here talking about the golfers at the highest level,
Yeah.
but again, everybody experiences it, even from the weekend golfers to, it can relate to any sport. It can relate to a work environment. For example, Taylor, we have an intern that comes in, and she comes in, and Taylor goes in there and sets up the weather studio and is walking through her and teaching her how to do, on live weather cast, whenever they do the weather reports. And she talks about being nervous and all that. So it's no different. It can be a work environment. So, all right. Now, I want to go to another area. And again, this is an area I've struggled with over the years, and I know you've dealt with kids and probably professional athletes on. I'm on number 7. Water all down the left-hand side. 70-yard wide fairway, and my mind says, just don't hit it there. And ultimately, what's going to happen is the majority of people.
It's either going to go there or it's going to go there.
It's going to go way there.
Yeah.
So again, I struggled with it myself, but it took me a long time to just say, okay, that's my target. I pick a tiny target and just let it go and hit the golf shot.
So it is back to this thing that I'm mentioning about values. Is that suddenly we value don't more than do. I have a funny story, and you may end up wanting to cut this out, but I had a kid come to me, and all the parents said was he's scared to death. And he comes in and sits down. We're at the Robert Trent Jones Trail course, and they only have like 36-ounce drinks. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and he orders a Coke. And he starts telling me about his last tournament, and this hole, and it's got water here and out of bounds there, and he goes, I made a 12, and I don't want, and he ends up, he's finished the Coke, and he's going like crazy. I don't want to be long, I don't want to be short, I don't want to be left, I don't want to be right, I don't want to be sand, I don't want to be in the water, don't want to be in the trees, don't want to be. And he's finished another half of a Coke, and he looks at me and goes, where's the restroom? And I said, well, it's over there. And he comes back and sits down. I lean across the table. I said, how did it go in there? And he's like, dude, are you weird?
Yeah.
I said, you walked in there and told yourself not to pee on the floor, didn't you? And he goes, no, I just aimed at one of the holes in the urinal.
Yeah.
And I said, son, when I can get you to play golf like you go to the bathroom, we're going to be great.
That's exactly.
Hey folks, you'll never guess where I'm at today. That's right, I'm at my Quick Mart store. Starting off with a fresh cup of coffee, and guess what's next? The biscuit. That was quick and easy, and I'm ready to start my day. Head on over to your favorite Quick Mart store and start your day out right.
And it was just like, boom, in his head, he realized, and he looked at me and he goes, I drove down here and I wasn't going, don't hit that mailbox, don't hit that mailbox, don't hit that car.
Yeah.
You know, he goes, I just drove down my lane.
Yeah.
I said, you play basketball, don't you? Do you say, let's get it close to the rim when you shoot? He goes, no, I'm trying to make it.
Yeah.
And I said, you're putting way more value on all the bad that can happen. And what's lost is your brain doesn't know what in the world you want it to do.
So do you think as golfers, and I'll even throw another sport in there, baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say baseball is because you can be in the Hall of Fame and fail 7 out of 10
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
So do you think as golfers and hitters that because the idea of success is hitting a shot where we want to hit it, and because the fact that we fail at it more times than we actually succeed, do you think that's where it comes from?
Oh, absolutely. And but the thing that you do is you keep aiming in small places. You mentioned that I have a better chance of hitting it than thinking about all the places I don't want this to go. I ask numerous tour players, you know, what is your last thought? And they'll hold up a club face and they'll go, hit it right there.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing. I showed up at a tour event and was watching a guy named Jim have the shanks on the range. Had 7 people around him and the ball's just going sideways.
Hitting L-hole zeros.
He had caddies, club reps, and 2 players. I think you're doing this, and I think you're doing that. And I walked up, and he goes, thank God you're here. He goes, I've hit 50 shanks in a row. And I said, I don't care what you do with this next one. All I want you to do is hit it. Matter of fact, I think I took a Sharpie out and drew a big dot on his iron right in the middle of the club face.
Yeah.
I said, hit it right on the dot.
Yeah.
And the next ball is solid.
Yeah.
You know,
didn't have him turn his hat around back.
no,
take
and
a
hang
chain behind
things
it.
from his neck and no. And so most of the time people struggle because they tell themselves what not to do rather than what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then when they don't hit it perfectly, they have a label they put on that. They
As a
don't want to
bad
give
shot.
bad any value. And so they look at it and go, it's playable. I mean, how many times have I caddied for a tour player and they don't hit it good? And we're walking off the tee going, I'm going, man, that was bad. And he goes, yeah, but I can still make par from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that doesn't, now you hit it out of, you hit it out of bounds. Yeah, it's going to be hard to make par from
That's
there.
right.
But most of the time they look at it going, you know,
Okay.
I'm just going to make par. I want to tap in bogey.
Yeah. That's
If I get in trouble, get out in one shot,
That's exactly right.
have a tap in bogey.
All right. So I love that. I love that looking at it from the I'm going to do this, you know. And now the other side of that coin is the acceptance side of when you don't.
Oh, yeah.
So help me and talk about accepting the bad.
Okay, so you to not accept it is basically to deny reality. And I think that's one of the things that's so impressive about folks that deal with all sorts of things. You could have the airline pilot coming in and the weather is just horrible and he's not going to just ease it onto the runway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, you know, I just got to get the job done.
Yeah.
And so the focus becomes, like you said, on the next shot. And I have player after player after player, I'll tell them acceptance is everything. And without acceptance, you don't move forward. So if I've messed up, then something's wrong with the club or something's wrong with me. And I have seen occasions where it is the club.
Sure.
Yeah. I was caddying for a guy and he used his 3-iron one time. It had just been put in his bag and it came up 7 yards short. And he goes straight to the trailer and it had 4-iron loft on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sure.
but most of the time,
That's right.
It's the guy pulling
Nowadays,
the trigger,
that's for
not the rifle shooting it.
Yeah.
And so just this acceptance, what makes me think I should be better than that? And tour players, if anybody has a right to think they should be better than that, and they're going, I'm still not going to hit but maybe 10% of my shots today, just like I want. And that doesn't even mean it's going to turn out like I want.
Right. Yeah. That's
You know,
because we play a sport that's outside,
it's outside, it's
different grasses, different, the ground has different firmness, the rough, you may misjudge a ball that you get your flyer on that you didn't think you would, or
exactly.
slow. So absolutely.
Is the wind going to blow? Is it not going to blow? Is it going to affect the ball? Is it not going to affect the
Yeah,
ball?
because how many times have we even seen on TV or played in our own life where we hit a shot and we thought the wind was going to move it? On TV, you hear a guy say, "Move it, wind."
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It doesn't happen the way you think it's going
So
to. Most of the time.
another thing they researched on tour was, where do bad shots come from? And tour players attribute 85% of bad shots to doubt.
Okay.
Only 15 to just a bad swing. The truth is, they're standing there going, is it 7-iron or 8-iron? And they take the 7-iron and feel like they just don't need to kill it, and they ease up on it, and it goes pull hook left.
Yeah.
And everybody would be going, well, that's a bad swing. And he's going, oh no, I know what that was.
And I would, at that level, I would agree, and the reason I say I would agree is because they just hit so many golf balls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their muscle memory, it's almost like they can't change. Yes, they can start doing stuff, but they work with such small amounts.
My point is this, that you have a choice between confidence or doubt. Even if I'm a bad golfer, what good is coming from doubt? None. So I go, it's a hard decision to make when things are going bad, but you have no other choice but to trust it. And that the research on tour, again, elite golfers, a good shot with the wrong club is better than a bad shot with the right club.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I would rather,
because you're committed.
Because I'm committed. So there becomes, start thinking about this identity on the course. I've got to choose to trust. Mm-hmm. So I choose confidence. Mm-hmm. Most people let confidence, they believe it comes from what's just happened.
It's a result of
something.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now I'm a victim of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And so I've got to choose confidence because the other choice is doubt. And how much doubt does it take to get rid of confidence? One little
swing.
Yeah. One little thought, maybe that and so you choose confidence, but you recognize if I don't choose confidence, I may make a passive choice to doubt. So I need to be active in choosing that. So if I choose to trust it, you judge a shot by things that matter to you. Did I have a good target? Did I set up good? Was my routine consistent? I've got tons of thoughts on that. Did I commit to the shot? Well, those are all the things you can control. You can't control an athletic movement once it starts. It's too fast. Mm-hmm. And so I was caddying for a guy, and we had 175, strong crosswind, water left, bunker front, and he hit a shot, and he aimed it, started it way right of the hole, right of the green, and it ends up in the water. And I'm looking at him, and I go, how are you? And he goes, man, I had a good target. I committed. I lined up good. I judged the lie right. And it ended up in the water. 4 out of 5 things were great. Yeah. And so we see the shot in the water, and the first thing we do is go, oh God, I suck. Yeah. And he's sitting here going, I controlled everything I could control. Yeah. That is a winning shot.
Yeah. That's a winning attitude.
It's a winning attitude. That's a winning shot. So I have clients keep mental scorecards. And a lot of it is is commitment and acceptance. You know, so you have a par four, maybe it's not going to apply that much to a chip or a putt, but on that tee shot, on that approach shot, did I commit? Did I accept? You know, and then they want to look back and go, did I score at least 80% on my mental scorecard?
Yeah.
Because those things matter more than the results.
All right. Everything we've just talked about is mental. Now I'm gonna throw my biggest demon out there.
Oh
okay?
my goodness. You're in a loving, caring place, Corey. Yeah. So it's a safe, it's safe.
Thank you. So I grew up on the golf course out here that I grew up playing. It's short golf course, small greens, taught you how to drive the ball because it's somewhat tight, and taught you to be a really good wedge player.
Yeah.
And it allowed you to learn to be able to go low scoring, which were all great things.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't grow up doing was hitting long irons rarely, and we had 0 fairway bunkers. My number one demon is a fairway bunker with basically anything outside of 30 yards. If I've got a 50 yard, 100 yard, 120 yard, 160 yard where you just can make a full swing, I have such a demon of when I step in there, because I have hit so many of those where I just hit them heavy and I'll get them out. I just cannot have solid contact in a fairway bunker. Now, some, we mentioned the yips earlier. Some it could be the laterals. It could be whatever. So help me and all the other people that's going to watch this, all of our golf buddies that's going to watch this, identify when we have that particular, it could be one particular demon. It could be a hole. We have,
I see that.
I mean, like at our club, number 9 at our club, the parking lot borders the left side. All right. So
Please don't hit a car.
how many people have hit it over there and, you know, they've done it. And if they don't walk up and initially say, I'm not going to the parking lot and I'm going to fire it over, what's that demon? And to me, I call it a demon, you know, but it's that first thought that goes in there of where you have failed, and we choose to focus on the bad. But at the same time, listen, again, I'm not saying I'm mentally tough, but I'm a lot more mentally tough than I used to be. But it still comes in there. And I just can't, like, again, mine's a fairway bunker shot. And I just struggle to the point to where I have accepted the bad shot before I've ever even hit the bad shot.
First of all, I do believe, like what you mentioned earlier, muscle memory, pathways are built in your brain. And as we reward them, and stimulation is the reward, that you will have that thought and boom, it's like, you know, this something just went off in my head. Yeah. And then you're up there going, don't hit it in the parking lot. Don't hit it in the parking lot. And then you hit it in the parking lot, you know, and it's like all the anxiety built up and I did it, you know, I did it. And that is actually a reward system to the brain.
Okay.
So once you start going there, you've got to have a way of breaking it. I have tour players who laugh at them.
Okay.
They'll be on the tee and I know them, you know, and I'll see them go up and approach the ball, and then I'll see them turn around and laugh at their caddy and walk back and start again. Yeah. He probably had the don't hook it, don't slice it,
That's
don't.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you know, he's had that thought.
That thought that comes in there.
Yeah. This sounds stupid, but if you like get the blue or purple rubber band that's on the broccoli or asparagus and put it on your wrist, and you have that thought, you haul off and pop yourself on the inside of the wrist. It is painful. Now you're associating pain with that thought. Yeah. And you can restart, you can reset. I have clients that use it when they start thinking about the outcome. I'm 3 under on the front. Oh my God.
Be a good thought.
It could even be 3 under. Don't mess it up. You know, it's like if you start thinking about outcomes, you know. So it's funny. I just started working on tour, and I charged $5,000 to get started with somebody. And one of my clients sees me with a new client, eating lunch, and he walks over and he goes, just write him the check and buy a rubber band.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we've provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Because the rubber band had changed that guy's life.
Yeah.
So a lot of these demons, there is a logical way to beat it.
Yeah.
But again, how much value am I going to give that thought?
Yeah.
You know, if I laugh at it.
Yeah. That's the thing. And so, I mean, that was why I wanted to specifically ask the question, is because, again, I can sit here and say, when I deal with it, I would think, well, you know, a normal person would say, well, just don't think about it or think positive. Well,
The negative is so loud.
the negative is so loud, and the negative is so loud is because I've had such a history of it being the result.
Yeah.
So-
That pathway is very
Right.
much there.
Right. So
It-
that's what the reason I'm asking the question is. I'm looking for, and many other people watching is going to be looking for, what breaks that. What allows us to control the negative, not just, hey, it's going to be there and I got to think more positive. No, what can I
No,
do
so
to
so
control that?
again, I'll use one of my clients, probably 25 years ago, knew that I worked with fishermen, and he said, we were talking about this, and he goes, you know, I have trouble on certain holes at certain courses because I've hit the bad shot numerous times.
Yeah.
And he told me, he goes, when you told me the target has to be brighter than the distraction. Okay. So we go outside right now, we can't see the stars. Why?
right.
Because the sun is so bright.
Yeah.
And he goes, I need to be like the bass fisherman on the front of the boat and the fish are on bed. And I pull up and it's like, there's an 8-pounder. He goes, what do I think about? Nothing else.
Yeah.
I see, and he goes, I hunt deer. And he goes, I'm sitting in that deer stand and I hear a crack. And he goes, the rest of the world goes away. I'm waiting for that rack to come out from behind the tree to see what is there. And he goes, I have to make the to-do like that and not let it explode and be so bright that it drowns out everything else. And that's what people don't realize when they watch these guys on tour. They're like, God, there's millions watching and there's thousands there and everything, you know, and it's like, all I want is the middle of the ball on that face. And I have a little tiny target out there.
That's right. That's
You know,
exactly right.
that all of that is a distraction. So that bad thought, as opposed to having value, you just go, well, that's distracting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, again, I mean, it's been a pretty good while since I've been to a PGA Tour event. When I was young, when I was a kid, my dad took me to Memphis and whatnot. But most people who just watch it on TV, and you get a sense of it on TV, it's not quiet. It's not golf the way we think it. It's loud out there.
No, and
There's people hollering, and there's all that stuff that's going on.
Scotty was hitting into the green the other day at Hartford, and the crowd is moving behind the green going into the parking lot.
That's
You know, and
exactly
it's
right.
like, it's not like they're all sitting still.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, we're going to kind of transition on, but nowadays, those of us that really keep up with golf and whatnot, everybody in their team has a psychologist. I mean, Wyndham Clark, won the U.S. Open. They even interviewed his that's out there, you know, so it's not it's not an issue that everybody doesn't deal with. All of us, again, golf is one of those mentally sports. And when you mentioned earlier you worked with fishermen, I didn't really think about it, but I thought absolutely I could see where fishing is equally, if not more mental than playing golf is, because there's more decisions to be made. But it's a common thing. Everybody struggles with their own thing. But I want to train it back before you get to the point where you can afford, like these guys, to have a team around. They travel with their chefs and their masseuse and all the things that they do, and I'm proud for them. But a kid that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, finding his way. He's trying to get better. He faces just some struggles. Maybe he's got some bad rounds, has some bad tournaments. He don't have the ability to pick up and call his sports psychologist, whatnot. There'll be some parents I know that will watch this, and hopefully even some younger guys watch this. Just give some simple pieces of advice of how to, what I would just call reset, and be able to just, okay, the bad's over with. Let's get back on track.
So I was introduced to a concept about 9 years ago that I really like. And it was not related to sports, but it is related to sports, which is if you're having a bad day, Corey can start over anytime he wants. And I don't know that we give ourselves permission to do that. It's like, it's going to be a bad day. Yeah. And the truth is, you can restart your day anytime. I have clients who decide to reset every hole. I have clients who may reset almost every shot. It's like you were saying, whatever's behind me is behind me. Whatever is in front of me, I don't know what it is. And I got this shot right now. Yeah. And I tell kids all the time, just hit it for what it is. And most of us carry, oh crap, I topped the last one. I hope I don't top this one. Yeah. And you go in and you check your values, because as soon as you say don't top it, and you just have to be aware of that internal dialogue and go, no, I'm not going to do that. In my marriage practice, I had a guy come to me and admit multiple affairs. Mm-hmm. Every one of them was with a blonde-haired stewardess on an airplane. Every time the plane got delayed, couldn't get to the gate, they gave out free drinks, and he was getting ready to travel again. And I said, this is real simple. Don't drink and don't talk to blonde stewardesses, And that seems like the most practical life thing.
Right.
But we don't want to tell ourselves what to think actively. I think scripturally, we're told to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ.
Yes.
We're told the truth will set you free. Mm-hmm. Yes, I just hit a bad golf shot. Now go hit the next one in the middle of the club face. Yeah. I'm going to choose to trust and not trust. That's where the reset goes. The reset goes back to, what am I supposed to do? For better golfers, and obviously for beginners, am I aimed right? Is my stance right? Yeah. Am I the right distance from the ball? Is my grip in a good place? Yeah. If I just focus on those things, what's going to happen, Corey? You coach a bunch of high schoolers.
You're going to get out of your own way.
Yeah, you're going to get out of your. I'm going to go. I got control of this.
That's right. That's right.
And good things have a chance to happen.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna talk about several scenarios, but it all goes back to a mind thought. I've got a he's in college, great player. I mean, really good player. And I've played a lot with him lately. His dad and I grew up playing together, and just growing up on the golf course together. And we were talking about, he gets off to slow starts. And what I mean by slow starts is, he may be even par through 6 and then kind of just have the mindset of, okay, we got to go. Yeah. But that's can be troublesome at times. Today you may not go, but you need to get to the point to where when you step on one tee, we're going from the go. So the mindset of getting off to a slow start. I used to have a weird thought that when I played a practice round at a tournament, I didn't want to play good, Because I thought if I play good today, I can't play good tomorrow. Or some people, I used to do this also. I'm going to break the tournament, or I'm going to break the round into a 3-hole stretch.
Oh, I love doing that.
So I'm going to play these 3 holes good. Well, that would be fine as long as I had a good 3-hole stretch, or if I didn't achieve my goals. Or today I made a bunch of birdies, and then tomorrow when I get started and I look back and say, well, yesterday by this time I was 3 under par. All those to me run along the same direction of things in your mind. How is it that we can take stuff like that, the good of stuff like that, where let's play this next 3 holes good, or the fact that, hey, I get off to slow starts because I've got confidence in the end that I'm gonna get going and I'm gonna make birdies or whatnot, but I want to change some of those thoughts, because the parts I want to change is I want to get off to a good start from the first tee shot. Or if I do have a bad 3-hole stretch, how do I change it to where, okay, I stayed focused to my committed goal. This is the next 3-hole stretch. Or I played good yesterday, so I can't play good today. But no, I played good yesterday. Because I played good yesterday, I can play good today. Just those simple things.
So I think a lot of bad starts is something that you didn't mention, and then people start thinking about and they go, oh, you're right. How often do you hit a golf ball on the golf course? You hit that tee shot. How long is it before you hit the second shot? 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, 5 minutes.
On the range, how long were you between shots?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. So a lot of people get in this hit it, rake it, hit it, rake it, and then you're going to go to the golf course, and there's going to be a good break between the last one you hit and the first tee shot. Mm-hmm. And then there's going to be a 5-minute break before the next one. And it may be 10 minutes before you hit the next tee shot.
Yeah.
And the rhythm of play is very different than the rhythm of warming up. So I try to get, and that's as much a mental rhythm as it is a physical rhythm, that I try to get clients to hit 30 balls in 25 minutes on the range. About a minute between every ball.
Yeah.
Which is really slow on the range.
You would feel like you're doing nothing.
Right. And have a purpose for every shot on the range. Like, I'm going to hit 5 wedges. You break up your 30 balls into 6 groups of 5. I'm going to hit 5 wedges. I'm going to knock one down. I'm going to hit one high. I'm going to draw one, cut one, hit one normal. Yeah. And there's 50 seconds in between these. So you hit it, you come back, you clean your club, you put it in your bag, you slow down. Now it's time to go hit the next one. And it's not, what do we do on the range? I'm just hitting at a target.
That's right.
I find tour players hitting golf shots. And if you watch them on TV warming up, it ain't real fast.
Yeah.
And so I think how people warm up really sets them up to start slow. And usually maybe it's nerves that we've talked about or whatever, but then they settle into the round and things are going better. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get them settled
from the get-go.
From the get-go.
Yes.
I'm fine. Go hit 10 little wedge shots to get loose. And now I'm starting my balls, my 30 balls in groups of 5. And I'm going to have a different shot. And I was doing this with a Corn Ferry player at the Ledges not too long ago when they had a tournament up there. And he had instituted this. And his last 7-iron wasn't good. And he raked the ball over there to hit another one. And I was like, Dawson, his name's Dawson Armstrong. Dawson lives near here. You know Dawson?
Well,
yeah, he's living in Spring Hill.
Well, I don't know
something.
if he's living up there, but he played at either Belmont or David Lipscomb.
Lipscomb.
Yeah, he's got a couple brothers.
He just won on the Tour of America's Sunday, 6-hole playoff.
Yeah.
Dawson is at the Ledges, and he mishits his 7-iron. And he's like, I'm going to hit another one. And I said, excuse me? And he goes, well, I can't end on a bad one. I was like, do you get another one on the golf course?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
You know, but he had this belief, I can't put my 7-iron up and it not be perfect.
Yeah.
So I try to bring the golf course to the range, and everybody's trying to take the range to the golf course.
Yeah.
So then the other thing I like, some clients really like, they do their 30 balls and then they play the first 2 or 3 holes on the range. That they sit here and go, well, I didn't drive her off one. It's a cut 3 wood. I'm gonna cut it. Okay, I look at that. I got 9-iron into the green. The pin's left. I know I already have the pin sheet. You know, and they'll play. But the secret is you don't play it lickety split, rake and hit.
That's right.
You settle into the tempo, and I find that being the greatest improvement in that slow start. And sometimes people overvalue a slow start. You know, I had a tour player and he 3-putted 2 of the first 3 holes. And I said, how did you shoot 66 today? And he goes, well, when I missed those first few, he goes, I was due a bunch, you know? Yeah. And we sit back and go, oh God, I can't 3-putt again. And now we leave it 8 feet short.
That's exactly right.
And you know, and we put a whole different label on it. So it is, everybody's their own different beast starting, but I would really challenge you, slow way down.
Yeah, that's a great point. Last thing I'm going to ask you on the psychology side of things. So, are you a routine guy?
Yes.
So, routine from the time of, again, we're going to, on this one, we're going to totally exclude the professional level because obviously they get there, they do, maybe a lot of guys work out. They get
they've got their routine
process. So, but just from not the everyday walk up, get her clubs out of the cart and go play, not that kind of routine. But let's say the junior golfer who's playing in tournaments, he wants to go to college and play, even an old guy like me who's still playing competitive. Talk to me about routines.
So I think there are small routines around golf shots. I start when the player is behind the ball, target over there, and they start walking in, I start counting. One of the things I discovered about tour players is they hit on the same number. So the average is somewhere around 12 to 15 seconds to hit a ball. You'll see a lot of folks down around 9. John Daly's around 6 and 7, really fast. But it's always the same. You were talking about speeding up under pressure. I slow down. And then I make really fast golf swings, and I think it's because my body's going, this should be gone already.
Yeah.
So I timed, and I'll use an example, Mike Weir when he won at Augusta decades ago. Every shot they showed on TV, I had a stopwatch. Mike Weir hit on 11 seconds. The fastest he got was 10.8, and the slowest he got was 11.2. So I think time.
So when were you starting when was your
first step into the ball?
Okay, got you.
Now, some guys step in, take practice swings by the ball or whatever, but I can find a time, and I say this because it's probably something you've never thought about. I have clients count Mississippis in their head, and they go, I hit on 10 Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And so I hit on 9, by the way. And I start walking in, and it's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, the club goes behind the ball, 4, I'm looking at the target.
One more thing to do.
No, but if I'm counting and my goal is to hit on my number, what other stuff am I thinking about?
Nothing. I understand that. Yeah.
And so I've had tour players that are texting me going, my goals today are no reaction to bad shots, not say anything negative about my game or the course, and hit on my number. The putting number is usually about 2 seconds quicker than the full swing number, and they want to hit on their number. And their success that day is, did I do my 3 things? And it's amazing. I've had guys win on tour, and their first text to me was just a number 12. I know exactly what they're talking about. I hit on my number every time. It associates the number with playing a golf shot, not thinking about mechanics.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I want to hit on my number and hit it in the middle of the face. Bigger routines, I think, are useful. There's something I'm sure most of the listeners don't know and may not even know this guy's name. There was a guy on tour years ago named Carlos Franco.
I remember Carlos Franco. Didn't hit golf balls. Did not warm up.
Carlos would, I had players come in, you know, they just made it to the tour, and Carlos is out there and they go, you know, I show up 2 hours early. I'm going to stretch, go to the van, work out. Carlos is drinking coffee and reading the paper. And I get my golf stuff on and I go to the putting green and come back to go to the bathroom. Carlos is drinking coffee and reading the paper. I go to the range, I warm up, he's the group in front of me. I get to the first tee, and here comes Carlos Franco. I'm going, he hadn't been to the range. He hadn't been to the putting green. He takes 7 hard swings and goes and plays. You know, that was his routine. Very different. But I think getting there at a certain time and having a plan for what you're going to do. I'm going to go chip 10 chips. I'm going to hit 50 putts. I've got a plan when I go to the range. It isn't to practice, it's to warm up. There's practice time and there is play
I am
time.
glad you said that. That is 2 very different times spent on the range.
Most of us are practicing on the range.
That's right. There's warm up and there's practice.
Yes. And so I worked with a tour player, and he asked me to be at the event on Thursday. He said, get there about 10:30. I play at 1. We can talk on the range, go eat lunch. I walk up. He is an hour and a half into what ends up being a 2-hour lesson with his swing instructor before his 1:10 tee time.
Yeah.
And we go in and eat, and I said, brand new client, I said, how in the world are you going to play today? And he goes, oh, I'll walk up on that first tee, put the tee in the ground, the ball in the tee, and I will not think another mechanical thought today. Because he had trained himself, there is practice and there is play. Play is fun, instinctive, spontaneous. Practice is deliberate, inward thinking. Play is outward thinking. You know, he knew, I am practicing and I'm playing.
It's just my opinion, but I would think most guys that would be hard to do, to go from
one to the
your
other.
Instructor right before you play, you're working on stuff, and then walk out there and just say, that doesn't enter my mind.
So here's what I do with folks, Corey, is when they practice, tour players play as much as they practice. So I get clients, you can use 5 balls, 10 balls. I'm sitting here with 7 irons and I'm working on my takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit 5 balls just at that flag out there, whatever you have to aim at, working on my takeaway. Mm-hmm. You know, am I flipping it behind me? I want to keep it in front of me. You know, whatever it is. Then I'm going to play 5 shots. I go through my routine. Don't use your full golf course routine on practice, because then you've associated it with practice.
That's right.
I want my routine associated with
a golf shot,
a play. I'm playing a shot.
That's right.
And so you have a plan. On the golf course, you're not going to aim at the same flag every time. I mean, you're going to be in different positions.
That's right.
So I sit back and go, okay, I'm going to hit a draw at that house over there. Okay, I'm going to hit a cut to the flag. I'm going to hit one low. I'm going to hit one high. I'm going to hit one hard. And I go through now I bring in 5 more balls, and maybe I'm going to work on, you know, I'm coming over the top a little. I'm going to make sure it drops down in this slot. And I'm going to hit 5 balls with my 7 iron, working on that. Then I'm going to play 5 shots. It could be 10 balls, but I know when I'm practicing and I know when I'm playing, and I'm practicing playing on the range.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly you can separate the two. And I have found that with doing that, I'll have clients make the comment to me, I was doing great till I hooked it out of bounds on 14 and I practiced the rest of the way in, that they recognize I'm thinking about it.
Right. That's right.
And so I believe that when you get there and you're about to play, even if you're not a good golfer, you're going to be better off not getting distracted by bad shots on the range, get loose, just try to find the middle of the club and warm up.
Yeah.
There's practice and there's warming up, and
those two are totally separate.
Totally separate.
Right. All right. Here goes all the psychology stuff. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. So we'll probably cut this back end part out. And so maybe at this time right now you're in a commercial or whatnot, but we're going to talk about your involvement in the 2008 Ryder Cup.
Oh, that will be fun.
That is something that when Taylor told me that you're involved in that got my attention. I just loved it. I was fortunate enough to go 2 days to the event.
It's like nothing in golf, is it? It's like for us, it's like going to the Alabama-Auburn game. Yeah. I mean, it is one.
For me, it's the greatest sporting event I've ever been to. Again, I love golf, but I mean, right now with the World Cup going on, some of these soccer games and how
it had that, the singing and
yes.
chants and everything.
So just tell me to start off as we get there, how did you get involved?
So I have an application for personality with relationship to sports. Different personalities move differently. And I've actually taught instructors. You have people who are fine motor dominant, people who are gross motor dominant. John Daly is fine motor dominant. Mm-hmm. You look at Ernie Els and it's gross motor dominant. Yeah. And so I had taught an instructor that. Well, he is instructing a kid in Atlanta. He was working at the PGA Tour Superstore. And the dad, and the kid's like grown up, he's like early 20s. The dad invited the instructor, his name's Brian Smith. You can find him in Dalton, Georgia. He's wonderful. Brian was invited to go play in a scramble with him. So Brian had been working with one of the sons, and the guy's name is Ron Braun. And Ron was Azinger's life coach. So Ron and the son that were taking lessons, they brought their other kid along, the older brother, and he creamed it, but it went everywhere. Mm-hmm. And Brian went up and whispered something to him on the next tee, and it went straight down the middle. And after a couple of holes, Ron is a psychologist. He actually ran my graduate school that I went to. I never met him, but I went to a school he was in charge of. Ron goes up to Brian and says, "What did you just do?" And Brian goes, "Well, I noticed he's fine motor dominant and he's trying to use his big muscles." I said, "Just use your hands to find square." He goes, "Well, how'd you know to do that?" And he told him about me. So I get a message from Brian. He goes, "I cannot tell you anything, but if you get a number from the 404, answer it." And it was Ron. Ron is an expert in the disc profile. I'm an expert in the Myers-Briggs profile. Azinger, through a story with Tiger, you had trouble pairing people with Tiger. Mm-hmm. Tiger went and did SEAL training. They break their group of 16 up into small subgroups that was your group to do things with and you function. And he said, "I think we could put me with a small group of people that I could be paired with, and we won't get this random stuff going on." So Ron and Azinger had come up with, we're going to use personality. Ron could listen to people talk and figure out their disc profile. Then when he found out I could watch somebody swing and figure out their Myers-Briggs profile, Azinger didn't want to test them. Then they would know what was going on.
At McDonald's HVAC Heating and Cooling, ensuring your indoor comfort is a commitment we stand behind. From one family to another.
McDonald's HVAC provides residential and commercial customers with repair and maintenance services on a wide range of indoor comfort systems. An American Standard custom care dealer. The world's most efficient and durable comfort systems, competitively priced from people dedicated to your total satisfaction. For trustworthy service, value, and peace of mind, contact McDonald's HVAC today.
Okay.
And so we created a grid of, Ron thought this was a green, we put all the players, across, so you weren't paired with yourself, but so he would give them a color, red, yellow, green. I would give them a color. And so we made 3 pods of 4 that were all greens. They were green on disc and they were green in my mind. These were compatible people. Azinger said the Euros had an advantage. This is all in Azinger's book, Cracking the Code.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned on page 77.
Really?
I only get one little mention. But so the advantage the Euros had, and it's probably less now than it was, but they made their groups based on ability to communicate.
Okay.
So you would get the French, Italian, Spaniards paired together. You'd get the Brits, and you would get the more Norwegian, German, Swedish.
Yeah.
And the big deal was the players frequently had a language. They might even speak English, but the caddies back then might be very limited.
Yeah.
So they needed to be able to communicate. So the Euros would show up, and you would have rare occasions where Luke Donald is paired with Sergio. Well, they all played U.S. stuff. They could communicate.
Right. Yeah.
But you would end up with Sevi and Jose Maria together, things like this.
That's right.
That it was, so they showed up and they knew who they were playing with.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul goes, I've played on the Ryder Cup. I could get paired with any one of 11 guys.
Yeah.
How do you practice that? How do you prepare for that?
Mm-hmm.
So we put them together in pods, and they practiced in those pods, and they knew all of their pairings were coming out of.
They were going to be playing with somebody in that pod.
In that pod.
Yeah.
And it was working. The morning we were winning and doing great, and it gets into the afternoon and we start winning, and Paul sees me in the player room or in there watching on TV, and somebody, Chad Campbell or somebody, made a birdie on 18 to close out that match. Paul had felt like we lost matches late, probably because we wore on each other rather than being compatible. He said, I'll know it's working if we're winning on 16, 17, and 18.
Really?
He goes, you just get sick of somebody. You may not even, you're not even going to play a practice round with this dude, and now you're paired with him,
Yeah.
And so I think it was Chad Campbell made a birdie or eagle on 18 at Valhalla, and we won. And Paul comes running across the room, and he picks me up, and he goes, this S word works,
Yeah.
and gave me a great big bear hug. And it was so much fun. We had some challenges along the way, but it was fun.
So being involved involved.
Oh,
there,
yeah,
right
all
in
access pass.
Right in the center of it. Did the players buy into it?
Yes.
So obviously you said that Azinger was trying to keep it somewhat of a secret, to not really know what he was doing.
They knew about the pods. They didn't
Right.
know how they were being created.
All right. So, did they have to be, again, because just knowing, individual golfers, I compete against you week in and week
Right.
out, and the thought, and then coming together, and then, because that's allowing now, and the reason I ask it is because nowadays, you see friends on tours, you see,
Yeah.
I'm from friends with this guy and we're going to play together, whatnot. But then that's allowing Paul Azinger to have freedom to make choices. See, I don't know that you get that anymore these days. I think the players have, well, hey, me and Sam Burns are buddy. We're going to go play
So
together.
he sold some of the crucial ones. Tiger did not play in that Ryder Cup
That's
because
right,
his
because
knee
of the
was
knee
bad,
surgery. That's
but it was all built for Tiger. And So there were players that he let into what was going on, and they got it and understood it. He gave them some labels. He had the Southern boys. So you had Boo Weekley, you had J.B. Holmes and Kenny Perry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had put Chad Campbell in that group. Stricker and Campbell were personalities that were pretty benign and would mesh. And Tiger and Stricker had some great success in the President's Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to put Stricker in that group. So he had some labels for them, and, they kind of colloquially fit.
Because Anthony Kim was a big star in that event. And I just put that up because
absolutely.
He's come back out. I think him being out and playing golf again and winning on
that was just I get chill bumps thinking about it.
I do too. And I posted on Facebook, and I'm not a big Facebook guy, but I posted, I think that's one of the best sports stories, especially in golf that there's been.
Yeah. So we had an Anthony Kim story. I had given Paul what to say to somebody if they were playing good and what to say to somebody if it was going bad. And Anthony Kim came out one day and struggled. And Ron was in the cart with Paul. And Paul looks at Ron and goes, "We need to go give Anthony a hug." And Ron goes, "I think you need to pull out Charles's sheet." And my sheet said, "If Anthony Kim is struggling, challenge his manhood." And so he did. He went up on the tee and didn't give him a hug.
And I think, doesn't the story go something like, "You gonna let this guy beat you?"
He did that with J.B. Holmes and Boo Weekley. That he went up to them and they were down a couple of holes, like through 6 or 7. And he went up to him and go, "Do you see them laughing at you?" Because we're watching it on TV up there, and I came down to tell you, when you're playing, they're laughing at you. So JB tees off on 9, and it's like alternate shot, and Boo hits it to a foot on 9, and they just steamrolled him.
So what did he tell Anthony Kim?
He challenged his manhood.
Good.
I won't go into any more details.
It.
He challenged his manhood. So I mean, there's just I got to meet the first President Bush. Mm-hmm. He was there, and amazing.
I seen him running around the cart.
Yep. And what was funny is he got out to meet some people right where my wife was, and she got to meet him. And I was in the players' locker room with him, and I came in and asked Joe Sharanko, I think he was the head of the PGA, and I said, "Do you think I can talk to the president?" He goes, "I don't know, why not?" My stepfather had been appointed by him to a position, and the Congress took forever to approve anything. And my stepfather finally said, "I'm done." And I went up to him. I said, "I'm Charles Plott." I said, "I think you know my stepfather." And he goes, "Who is that?" And I said, "Philip Williams." And he goes, "Your mother's name is Ramsey." He had met her.
Wow.
And I walk out going, "That's why he's president."
So as the Ryder Cup's moving on, obviously got off to a good start. We were talking prior to before we got started. You were talking about you had a plan, y'all get the pod system going, but there was a snafu in what's got to the plan. Things change. Tell me how y'all handled that, you and Ron, from the psychological standpoint, where, hey, we had a plan, this issue popped up, and now we got to deal with it.
So the night before the first day, late that night, Azinger gets a call from a player, and somebody in his pod had done something that offended him greatly. And he calls Azinger and goes, "I'm not going to play in that pod. You got to put me somewhere else." And literally Azinger goes, "Okay, whose pod do you want to be in?" And they moved that person into this other pod, took somebody from that pod and put them. And so we had groups that all of a sudden it didn't make any sense. Why? Even people on the outside were like, they didn't practice together now, and we had a plan that every rookie the first day was going to get to play with a veteran. We weren't going to put rookies out together. This necessitated putting Boo Weekly and J.B. Holmes out together in the afternoon of the first day. So it gets about halfway through the morning round, and Paul tells me, I need you to go inside and wait for Boo and JB. They know what's happening. You go make sure they're in a good spot. And obviously their first Ryder Cup, they are just sky high.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and it was like, they look at me and it's like, okay, what do we need to do? And I said, I think you got to go be you. And they're like, and I said, JB, are you taking it over the trees on the left on one? He goes, that was the plan. I go, it's still the plan.
Yeah.
And he goes, there was a drivable par 4 early in the back 9 that had water around the green down a hill. And the plan was the original pairing. He was going to be with somebody that was not a long hitter. He was going to put it in play. JB was going to go for the green. We kept that plan. So we worked around it, and it all worked out okay, but it was not the original plan.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people just, you have no idea, like you said earlier, they're real people.
Yeah.
And real life things happen, and somebody pissed somebody off.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because, and again, in that moment, that's, if not handled properly, that could be something that
blows up everything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's where I was headed. So
I've got one story I want to tell you.
I want to hear it.
that people may not appreciate. So if you're hosting the Ryder Cup, you get to set the course up the way you want. And there was a par 4 on the front that was like 470, 80 yards. Good long, hard hole. The Euros only had a couple of really long hitters. We had 6. Kenny Perry was the shortest of our long hitters, and Kenny's...
He could bomb it.
He could bomb it.
Yeah.
And so we're standing in the practice round on the tee, and Azinger, this par 4 went out, and there were bunkers, went down a hill and up to the green. And Azinger told the guys, I want you to mow the fairway, because normally it would end, and that was all rough. He goes, I want you to mow the fairway down here. And it was so the long hitters could go over the bunker and land on the downslope and get really close to the green.
Yeah.
So we're on the tee, and he looks and he goes, Kenny, you're my short hitter of the long hitters.
I think it's number 6.
Yeah, I think it's number 6.
Yeah.
And he goes, where do I need to put the tees, barring wind or whatever, but where do I need to put the tees that you'll go over that bunker? And he goes, set it at 300-yard carry over the bunker. And he goes, 300, and Kenny goes, my miss hit's 303. Okay. He goes, so if you put it at 300,
I can get it.
But to know his miss hit
Yeah.
is 303,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure enough, they went bombing. And so instead of having 180 yards into the green, these guys were having 70.
Yeah.
And he had one tree limb cut off on like 17. I think it was 17 that one of the guys hit a draw, and we were in the practice round, and we're all riding around together. And he goes, Paul, can you do anything with that one limb? He goes, my ball flight goes right by that limb. 30 minutes later, that limb was gone. Oh yeah.
17, I remember.
It's kind of a skinny
It
uphill.
goes up, kind of goes a little
You
left,
left.
and flattens up on that plateau. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what the story I was about to tell was either Friday or Saturday, and I can't remember. You would probably remember, but we were on the right-hand side of the fairway watching, of course. And I remember when we got there, we had been kind of making our way around, and I remember stopping. It was me and my dad and one of my best friends and his dad. And we were standing there, and I was just kind of judging it. I had played Valhalla before. So I thought, well, they're probably going to hit it, right in here. So that's kind of where we went.
Yeah.
And I remember JB hit a ball. And I was going like, I lost it, and then I knew it was left of where I, would hit it. But all of a sudden, I mean, it was so far up there. Like, it was one of those times where, I've played a lot of golf, and I've played at a high level, and I've seen a lot of really good players. But he hit a ball that I just couldn't understand how he got it there, So it was just, I don't know. That's again. That,
JB
it's just amazing.
may have been the first day, or it could have been the second day morning. But I went out with my wife at one point and walked with her some, and I could obviously have a cart and be inside the gallery ropes and everything, and she couldn't. So we went and sat behind 10 green, which was I think it was like a 610-yard par 5, kind of a little uphill and then down.
drops,
Yeah. JB hit 7-iron into that green.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
The Summit of Lawrenceburg is the premier senior and assisted living community in the region. The Summit makes it home for you or your loved one with diverse suites that welcome and encourage community, plus gathering spaces, neighborhoods, daily activities, and a wonderful staff that supports you every day.
Hi, I'm Tara Blue. I'm the new director of the Summit, and we would like to invite you and your family to come and tour our facility. We would love to see you here.
and I've never met him, but I have. I've been close to him a couple of times.
Yes.
His forearms.
He's not a big dude, but he's
No,
built,
but
isn't
he
he?
is massive in his forearms.
Yeah.
So one question I did want to ask. I got 2 more questions. We'll wind it up. Number one, guys always say the most nervous they've ever been in their life is a Ryder Cup. And it's not one of those nervousness that you really shake. It's kind of with you the majority of the round for sure. I got 2 questions inside that. And I guess these are kind of psychology. Number one, I can identify with the fact they say they're so nervous they can't hardly put it on the tee.
Yeah. And sometimes you see it.
Yes.
I mean, you look down there and
That's exactly right.
it's trembling.
That's number one. The other one is this. I think some of the most unbelievable and high level of golf that we have ever seen and shots that we see are in that environment also. So, number one, what do you tell guys that when they say, Mr. Plott, I can't tee it up, I'm so nervous. How do you get a guy from the range knowing he's going to get there, just to at least get him to where you can put it on the tee? And then how do you explain the fact that some of the most unbelievable golf we've ever seen and shots hit are in that environment too?
So, yes, and the nervous is excited. I mean, and it is such a small stage compared to a regular golf tournament.
Yeah.
If you go to a Ryder Cup, you realize there are a pack of people going with 4 groups.
Yes.
Around a golf course
with 4 people, 4 groups.
4 groups,
Yeah.
and the last day you got, all 12 players out there and all of that. But for the most part, I mean, it is like a football game. It's like going to Neyland Stadium.
That's right.
And every shot's in front of Neyland Stadium. I mean, it is on top of you. It's intense. So I had somebody ask me, he goes, man, I'm not sure I'll be able to put the tee in the ground, much less the ball on the tee. And I looked at him, I said, well, just have your caddy do it. And he goes, if I can't do it, I'll just have my, and then he's up there with some pride going, I'm about to ask my caddy to do it,
Yeah.
But the ultimate side of this performing like crazy, there's an interesting graph, and I mean, I don't have anything to draw on, people will just have to imagine this, but if you have going up the x-axis and y-axis, axis, performance, and then you have desire, focus, intensity, whatever going along this way. The graph is this little curve to where if I have too low a focus, too low intensity, too little desire, I don't play well. Mm-hmm. And then there's somewhere up here that's the optimal level. What the research shows is, yes, that's true. And then this thing will just go like this, that for a lot of people, it gets sky high. And basically, you just don't give a damn. I'm gonna go hit a freaking golf shot.
Right. Yeah.
And in the Ryder Cup, you will see somebody flag it 3 feet. Now I've got to hit.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And
if it ain't 3 feet, we're beat on this hole.
That's right.
And they just they find that place where the desire is so high, And it's like you hear people in wrecks. It's like, oh, my kid was trapped under the car, so I just flipped the car over. You know, that they get to this place where it's just unbridled. I have nothing else to do but go for it.
Yeah.
And the Ryder Cup just brings
amount
that
of,
out.
like hole outs, long putts, or the
Historic ones.
Yeah,
Justin Leonard's putt.
right. Or even a few years ago, whenever they show it all the time when Patrick Reed and Rory had the singles match, and that was at Hazeltine, I think. Where on the front side, it was just shot after shot after shot. It was unbelievable golf.
Yeah. And you don't have consequences like you do in a stroke play event.
Yeah.
You could make a 12, not that you would, but you only lose a hole.
That's
if I blow this, it's not like I'm losing 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
I lose a hole.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of the long-term consequences out. I would never try that shot in a stroke play event, but he's just hit it 4 feet.
I don't have a choice.
I'm going to show him.
That's right.
I'm going to make the dang thing.
That's right.
And then you see him roll it up like this, and you're like, and the crowd's going nuts. So it is, the President's Cup doesn't have it like the Ryder Cup does.
Right. It does.
But it is truly special golf, and to have been involved with it one time in my life is like the most awesome thing.
And listen, and it's real because you can see even over the last few years where there's been some incidences of people getting ticked off and some tempers coming out. It's not that regular weekly event where we're done, pat you on the back, and you collect your $2.5 million, I'll take my $1 million.
And we'll go on
next week.
Yeah.
But one question I do want to ask, and we'll wind it up here, and I want to stick to the category of the Ryder Cup. You were involved in that one. That was 2008, 18 years ago. Do you think that that we got away from that? I know Paul Azinger over the years has talked about, this was successful. We built this thing. Even immediately,
it was repeatable.
It was repeatable. Do you think that the way they're doing it now, again, you got a lot of younger guys are on the team now. They go about life differently than my generation, your generation. But do you think that maybe we got out of a winning system?
Yes.
When it comes to it?
So the Euros have one. They have a winning system. You work your way up to being a captain. By being vice captains, they have a method. They have a structure. With us, we pick a Ryder Cup captain, and it's his blank slate.
It's yours.
It's yours.
Yeah.
People that don't be fooled for a moment to think ego doesn't come into this. But Paul has pushed for, we could have kept doing things. We could have created a system that I'm sure now would have evolved into something slightly different. They tried to do, and I know this just from connections, they've tried to do some of the same things. They did it, I think Davis Love may have done it and had 3-man pods and some things like that, but they never did it like it was done then. Right. Azinger asked for more picks. The reason he wanted captain picks, we qualified 8 people. Mm-hmm. He needed the 4 captains picks to fill out the pods. Yeah. Well, I need 2 of these and 1 of those, and
Yeah. And so, it had to do based on what you guys.
Yeah, we
personality and stuff like that.
We had guys being considered. Yeah. Rocco had a great year that year. Rocco had also gone through a divorce that year. And I said, I really like Rocco in this pod. And Paul goes, well, the women have spoken.
That's great.
They don't like Rocco's girlfriend and they like Rocco's ex-wife, and it's like.
That's awesome. But that's life.
That's life. And so nothing against Rocco. I would, like I said, I had Rocco in, he fit perfectly with one of our pods. And, but I got the wives have spoken.
I love that. That's great. Well, I think the Ryder Cup's awesome. I love it. And I don't agree with the fact that Americans, we don't care. We care more about our individuals. I don't believe that. I believe the guys, I know they care. I know they want to win because, you wouldn't be involved in that,
No.
So.
No, it is
I
intense.
It is. I do think that the system that you were involved in, I do think that was a great thing. And I thought, because I think everybody, especially that's in golf and whatnot, thought, okay, I think we got a winning system here. And then
without Tiger, we were tremendous underdogs, and we found something. Paul worked with a lot of ideas. He was like, do we do it by conferences? We'll put SEC guys together and Big 12 guys together and Big 10 guys together. It's like, no, that's not practical. The Euros had a built-in model just based on language challenges, and he came up with a solution that worked. I would have loved to see the PGA do what's happened in Europe. They adopted a way of doing it, have been doing it for decades. You work your way up to being a captain, and they will keep them, as you're seeing occur, that they'll keep these captains. And I think we would buy into it because we would start knowing, well, sooner or later, it's going to be this guy's team and this guy's team. Yeah. That I think we would embrace the structure, but it has been left to the PGA goes, well, Corey, you're our next captain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us what we can do for you.
That's exactly
right. And it's like starting over from scratch every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I keep finding one more question. I want to ask this one more question and we'll be done. Between the different ways you looked at it, and I'm going to break it into two categories: game, personality. Which was the most important? So if you had to say, I would lean more one way or the other between pairing guys together. Is it similar games and being able to go out and be compatible with your game with each other, or would it be personality / friendship?
So he totally did personality. There may have been some things where if you have a JB Holmes, he could bring to Chad Campbell or Boo Weekley a component in an alternate shot format that would be really great.
Yeah.
Hey, he'll tee off on 1, 3, 5, 7, and you sit back and go, perfect.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of game thing. Personality is huge. If you get around people who are similar to you, we get along great. Mm-hmm. I would almost bet that we have very similar personalities.
Probably so.
So then you turn around and go, would we have a great time playing golf together today? Mm-hmm. We probably would, wouldn't we?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in that intense environment, it's going to create a lot less stress if I'm not having to deal with your crap. Mm-hmm. So you get, as we did some of the pods, some of them were more intellectual by nature. That's where we had the Anthony Kim and Phil Mickelson and some of these guys. And I thought Rocco would fit into that. Rocco's his own little, he's hilarious.
Hunter Mahan was on that team.
Hunter Mahan was in that pod.
I think Stuart Sink was on that team.
Yeah, we put we moved some around with that change, and it may have been Stuart that we moved from one pod to another. Yeah. But I think personality over the course of days and a really intense week together, because they socialized together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They ate dinners, all their meals were together. You're playing together, you're spending all day together. I'd rather spend it with you than I might with Hunter Mahan.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I may not click with him like I do with you.
Yeah.
So in that setting, I do think personality was really
probably
critical, more important than game.
Yeah. Well, listen, I could sit here and do this all day long, but for the sake of time, we're going to end it. And listen, I'd love to have you back.
Oh,
again.
well, anytime you want it.
I'd love to have you back and talk about it. And we've got there's a lot of, in Lawrence County, we got a lot of really good junior players here. We got a girl that's from here that plays currently at Kentucky.
Awesome.
Yeah, they got to the national championship this year. She had an older sister that played 3 years at MTSU, finished up at Eastern Kentucky. Got multiple kids playing college golf, so I'd love to have you back and maybe even get one of them in.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Let him ask some questions and just kind of spend some time. But,
free therapy.
Yeah, and you can bill us. But thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed this sit down with Dr. Charles Plott, and hopefully we'll have him back again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
In 2018 and again in 2022, you elected me to be your sheriff. You elected me to lead with experience, fairness, and accountability. Since then, I've worked every day to defend your individual rights, protect your families and your property, and use your taxpayer dollars responsibly. Focused on results and committed to doing the job the right way. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together. Supporting and training our deputies, being tough on crime, fair with citizens, and implementing effective jail programs. I'm a working sheriff, a constitutional sheriff, and I'm committed to continuing the job that you've trusted me to do.